Smart 24, driving business.
A very warm welcome to the show and a good evening to you wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for tuning in at Smart 24 TV. Remember, this is the #1 business channel in East Africa and we do drive your business. My name is Anthony Sebale and I am your host this evening. And on the point, we analyze economic policies, we analyze the key stakeholders in the sector and get to criticize and give a discussion for debate on some of the things that need to be addressed in the different sectors of our economy as Ugandans. And of course, this week is a week full of women in business, full of women and women's participation in our economy. So we couldn't overlook that as Smart 24 TV. And today we have a very special edition for the women, especially women in entrepreneurship. And we are talking today unlocking entrepreneurial skills in women and especially improving their employability and of course self-employability as well. And very interestingly today I'm joined by two very inspiring young women who have done a lot in the direction of skilling young women and getting them up to speed with the technology, getting them up to speed with entrepreneurship skills, and one of them being Mrs. Maureen Wagubi. Mrs. Maureen Wagubi is the Executive Director of the Institute for Social Transformation. This is a body that looks at women, especially in the markets, and gets to bring them together, gets to skill them, not only in the skills to do with finances, but also social and life skills. I'm also joined by Mrs. Peace Kutesa, who is the founder and the CEO probably of the Zimba Women. And the Zimba Women is also another very interesting group there, a social enterprise that is specializing in the provision of e-commerce and m-commerce services, IT training, women-to-women-led small and medium enterprises here in Uganda. It was actually recognized by IFC as one of Africa's next startups, and that is none other than Zimba Women. And so the discussion is going to be a heavy one, and I hope definitely this will be something you will learn from, especially the women in business, getting to learn how you can handle business, how you can improve yourself, and how you can move forward in a gender-sensitive economy, as we may term it. You're most welcome, ladies. I was going to say gentlemen, ladies, to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Mrs. Kutesa. We've had a discussion before here on the show, and I haven't met you, I think, this year. We met last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Tell us about your year. How has your 2023 been moving forward, especially at Zimba Women?
Well, it's just been a few months. First of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
I know we're already in the first, almost in the, at the end of the first quarter, but it's still a Happy New Year. This year for us has been a lot of planning, a lot of replanning. We had a lot of activities planned for from last year for this year, and a lot of things changed because many of the women that we had before COVID started have dropped out of the programs because their businesses have failed. So we've had to replan with a new number. How do we bring back the ones whose businesses have collapsed? How do we inspire new entrepreneurs? Because we know that entrepreneurship is going to be a key enabler to women's economic empowerment. So that's what our new year is like, looking at trying to gather our women, inspire them afresh, encourage them to come back and not give up, because it's just March 8th is around the corner. We need to have our community mobilized by then. So that's what our new year is looking like at Zimba Women.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming through. Mrs. Maureen, tell us about the Institute for Social Transformation. So far, I think we met as well last year, if I'm not mistaken. No. This year?
Yes.
Okay. Good to meet you again this year. Tell us about what's been happening at the Institute of Social Transformation recently.
Thank you, Anthony. At the Institute, we have been there, continuing with our journey to work with the women in the informal sector, specifically markets. And we have been trying to strengthen the women's operation in regards to the digitalization of their businesses. And I'm also very excited to know that the current theme of this year for Women's Day, it is aligned to the agenda that IST is trying to push forward. So for me, I'm really excited about this day, and I'm also just looking forward to seeing that, yes, we can move with these people, to take them a mile that we want to see, because globally things have changed. And looking at the way they are embracing technology, it is giving us that future that we want to see. So that is what the estate is all about.
Wow, interesting. And we're going to just dig into a little bit of what you've been doing with the Market Garden app and the Zimba women as well, what you've been doing in the role of technology. Because as per the program for this year's Women's Day on the 8th of March, Wednesday, the Uganda will join the rest of the world and Africa at large to celebrate Women's Day in the pomp and ceremony that we are of course expecting to be bigger than what we've seen last year and in the previous years. The national celebrations are set for Chiruhura district at Karo Secondary School, and probably one of the things that keep recurring in these celebrations are the themes. And this year the theme is Dig It All. I don't know if you saw the theme. It has Dig It All, but the term comes out as digital. And it comes to innovation and technology for gender equality. That's the theme for Women's Day. And of course, it's aligned with what UN has been looking at for the past several years in the 67th session of the UN Commonwealth and Commission status as per the women's agenda involving women in technology. I'll start with you, Ms. Maureen. Tell us about the vitality of innovation and technology for women, particularly in business.
Thank you, Anthony. Allow me to first take this moment to appreciate you and women who have supported us through this journey of bringing tech to the women in the informal sector. Because when we started, it wasn't a thing for women in the informal sector, but now them being recognized and saying, yes, market women are here, they can deliver products online, as in trading online, basically. It was not the usual. So you and women supported us through this journey, which we really appreciate. It was a bit scary, because looking at the literacy levels of these people, we're a bit skeptical. Will it work or won't it work? But we are looking at some of the dynamics around it and why bring the tech to the women. And one of the issues why we brought tech to the women was because of the middleman issue. That most of the time the women are losing a lot of money through middlemen who are selling. You come to the market, they grab you along the way to do shopping on your behalf, and they go and bargain to the list to this woman who is at the store. So we're trying to see how do we come up with a solution to ensure that the woman can achieve more, but also trying to increase access to markets and bring convenience to the client, as you know our markets. And this breakthrough came during the period of the lockdown, the first lockdown. Our app was already there, so it was like it propelled us now to launch it. And when we launched it, we got so many people who are making orders online until when the situation stabilized, and then we went back to our usual of doing. But we are very grateful that the app is here and the women are embracing it, and they are advancing on how even to use the smartphones, because most of the time people are looking at smartphones in different ways. The way they conceive it, as in they call it what? Immoral, like they're going to to become prostitutes and things like that. But we're changing the mindset of the people that yes, the smartphones are here, they're diverse, you can use it whatever, the way you feel you can. So we're trying just to bring people to the front, saying yes, you can use this for business and make money. Yeah. So
wasn't it so hard to push this, especially for the women in the market? We understand most of them are probably having smaller phones and they're probably not used to the technology. Wasn't it harder for you to actually get?
Of course, it was hard. It was hard, but we had a solution already, and we provided phones on a revolving kind of basis, but they were paying. They were paying small monies on a daily, like 1,000 per day for a phone of around 300,000, and they embraced it. Though our people, they still go back. They're used to free things, some of them. So the paying process was really painful, but they embraced it. And I'm also appreciating the telecommunication houses that have come up with a solution also to come and provide these phones on loans. So we started on it. We gave out a few phones because still the app is under, let me say, sampling. We are still on the pilot. We are still piloting it within Kampala. We haven't yet really gone outside the other cities, but that is where we are going. Yes. And then we have now another app which is also in line with access to health. Because from the engagements and interaction with the market community, we know that most of the women cannot go to hospitals to access medical services because they feel, when I go to hospital, it's going to take me a whole day of me waiting to see a doctor. And most times I even don't get a chance to see the doctor. So what do? I rather go to a pharmacy and do self-medication. And sometimes you're not really treating the problem. You're just, trying to smear on the bigger issue. And before you know it, things have gone wrong because we have seen women who have lost their lives because of that. Because I'm fighting to ensure that I fend for my family. And if I go to the hospital, my business will be closed. I will not make any money. So we're trying to see how do we bring it to them so that they can have this access to health services, but also talk to the doctors purely for pure diagnosis of the issues. So that's what we're trying to do at the institute.
No, thank you so much, Ms. Morin. Mrs. Kutesa, looking at the theme for this year's Women's Day, the agenda is to see that we have impactful digital transformation for women to bridge the digital gender gap, especially for women who are doing business. What is your view about this theme? Has it come at the right time? Should it have come earlier? And how important is it to the women in business?
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. I feel like this theme has come at the right time. Why? Because 2 years ago we were forced to go online. Majority of us were not ready, especially our women. A lot of women who are running small businesses are not formally educated, or if they are formally educated, we have people who are called the rural poor. The urban poor. We have the rural poor, then we have the urban poor. The usual assumption is people in the urban areas can afford. But then we have the urban poor who are just surviving day to day. The money she makes in the market is just enough to buy food. So those women, in as much as they were forced to go online, they also had a problem of affordability. Internet costs didn't go down just because we were in a lockdown. So that's a major encumbrance and one of the major causes of a gender digital divide. In any digital divide, women are the most affected, and that means when everybody is adapting, we lag behind. We lag behind because of social norms, which prevent women, like my colleague said, from holding mobile phones because the men believe the women are going to get spoiled, and which is why one of the biggest UN campaigns was the He for She, where as part of enabling women to go digital, we have to seek permission from the men. But okay, that's not a good way of putting it, but we have to have men as champions of digital for women. These men are our brothers, our fathers, community leaders. These people have a big influence in how women adapt to digital. So I believe this theme is timely, especially now that we don't have the issue of mobility. We can still move around. So we still have the backup of the physical markets, but then we have a choice to go digital as women. So I encourage my fellow women out there, go digital, try to embrace the technology because that's where everybody is going. If you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. That's what happened in the third industrial revolution. Those who didn't adopt lost their jobs. So get used to the technology, learn how it works, learn how it makes your work easier, and also buy yourself some time, because if you go digital, then you save some time, moving up and down to reach your customers when you can advertise online. So yeah, this theme is timely because it draws attention to the fact that yes, a gender digital divide is going on, but yes, the world is now aware. And how are we helping women to adapt? How are we as, people who are running the Market Garden app, like my colleague, Zimba Women with our our e-commerce platform, how are we helping these women, not just by providing the app, but also encouraging them to use these services, demystifying the fact that technology is only for the educated, but also making it accessible for even the uneducated, making it affordable, providing options aside from apps and websites through like SSID where somebody can access, because a lot of times we assume that a computer is the only digital, but even the simplest mobile phone is access to digital. So we can use an SSID number and say, if I prompt 1, it will open this, prompt 2 will give me this information. So on the simplest phone, we can encourage these women to go digital. So I urge, each one of us in our own way, whether through it our communities, telecom companies, NGOs, to reach out and really come onto this theme and support the women as much as possible in going digital.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. Before we leave that, the Zimba women, first tell us about the agenda. Why are you so interested in the digital transformation? Because that's one of the key pillars that I have always seen in all your posts on social media, in all your programs. Why are you putting digital transformation at the helm?
Thank you. So the reason why we are putting digital transformation at the helm is because that is the only way that we are going to somehow get an equal footing. Because like I just mentioned earlier, women are left behind a lot. But digital, it gives us a chance to be at an equal footing. I don't represent as peace. I'm on the internet. The internet is not going to, there may be some bias based on the information that I input, which will discriminate against me being a black woman, but that is minimal. So when I put my products online, it will not say this is a woman's product, this is a man's product. For the first time, I'm on equal footing with a man who is selling similar products. So digital gives us a chance for equality. It also gives us a chance to get access to information. There are trainings which are online. There are opportunities for networking, which women have been excluded from a lot of times because they are caregiving, they are caregivers in their communities. So we don't have a lot of time to go socialize with our colleagues after work, because we have to go home, make a meal, tend to the children. But now with digital access, I can have a training online. I can be in a networking event online as I am home preparing a meal for my children. So digital transformation is something that is very, very important for us women. It's something that we need to jump on and make sure that as many of our sisters jump onto this, because it's the only way we're going to get an equal footing in a world of technology where it doesn't know gender.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mrs. Peace. We are going to take a very short breather. Now, when we return, we understand women constitute at least more than half of the African population, and particularly for cases like Uganda, logically, the women deserve at least half of the national cake when it comes to not only Uganda, but the East African community and so on. And currently, when you see the trends from last year, the president was very happy with what he did in cabinet, having at least 44% of the major cabinet ministers being female, 14 in number, and at least 46%, that is about 23, being female on the junior cabinet. But is this enough? Women, besides political positions, have ambitions to do business. Women have ambitions to own businesses, to be employed in big organizations, to represent women and other people on big platforms. What can be done to see that women are empowered in this direction, besides just the political roles they play in the leadership society? My name is Anthony. You're watching The Point, and this is Smart 24 TV. As we drive your business, we're taking a very quick break and we return shortly.
Smart 24